whining and dining.
Hoping to make this a regular thing, probably. Just kind of regrouping after our weeks. Sam and I actually haven't been together for almost a couple weeks now. We've each been either traveling or out on jobs or whatever. So we have a lot to hash out together today. So that's what we're gonna be doing. They are over here. I got them. They stopped, got us Subway, chips, drinks. So hopefully we don't bore you to tears.
I'm getting a haircut tomorrow. My God.
Ooh, yeah.
Sorry. I might need a fork. I made a list of mine because I wanted to, and I thought of one while I was in the bathroom. Do you want to start?
No, you can go first. I'll build off you.
I want to talk about, I was watching some reels or Instagram reels or like TikToks or something. And what I want to complain about is Leonardo DiCaprio. Did you see my list?
No.
Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet have been best friends for all these years. Since Titanic. 1997 that movie came out, and I'm sure they did a couple years, whatever. They've been friends for a very long time. And that poor man has been through so many young females. And my whole thing, my whine about it, my complaint is he's not finding anything satisfying because he's in love with Kate. And I need them to be together. And I've been thinking about it because I'm like, why wouldn't they? And I know she has a husband and children and like all these things, but he's always been. And it was funny because there was one interview and they're like, oh, you're going to the after party after the Oscar, whatever it was. And he's like, yeah, Kate and I are going together. And her husband. And I'm like, oh, and the husband. He's like third wheeling forever. 2007, 17. That's almost 30 years. That this man. So my complaint is, why did he missed his opportunity or something? She was probably in love with him at one point. And he's like, oh, I can't. I'm with someone else, or oh, I'm too young. I can't, whatever. He missed his chance. She got with somebody, and now he's in love with her. And I just think that he's dumb. And it's his fault. I know it is.
It's his fault. I know.
That's my whine as of right now.
This really really pricks at your friends to lovers trope situation that you're struggling.
I want someone to write this fan fiction for me. They need to be together, like, at the very end. Like, let's say,
burn of
well,
all
yeah,
time.
if Kate's husband passes away or whatever.
Oh, God.
But then Leo has always been there. I just need him to be there. And then he's like, they can be together finally, and at their end of their lives. But did you expect me to say any of that?
No.
I was thinking about it. I wrote it down. I'm like, this is horrible. Ugh. I have other ones if you want me to go again, but if you want to continue.
Yeah, go ahead.
This one came up in my memories because someone was talking about a word that kind of sounded like the word hominy. Do you remember hominy?
Like, hominy.
Like the chewier version of corn, and it was white. And you could put it with corn, and it was called hominy.
Oh,
we used to have it all the time when I was growing up.
Why did I feel like that? Heard that as succotash.
Isn't succotash with the peas and the corn and all that together?
I don't know.
But the white, I'm just saying, where is it? Is it still being made? Because I haven't seen it. I didn't grocery shop at the time I was consuming it.
Snuffed it out.
GMO. I was just thinking about it the other day, and I was like, where is it? Why did I have it all the time when I was growing up? I'm serious, though. I want to know where it's at. Listen, she probably has some major serious whines to go through, but these are the things that I've been thinking about in the last couple of days.
I just feel like all my whines have to do with my job.
100%.
100%. Oh my gosh. The field that I work in the medical field, and I just have a deep-rooted hatred for insurance companies. I can't, like, it's corrupt. They're evil. The things that they deny people and the prices that they're gouging people with. It's just, I mean, I have a woman that I work with who really, she messed her knee up, like tore both sides of her meniscus. It's been like that for months, since like April. And in order to do anything about it, she needed an MRI. Well, her insurance company denied her an MRI. Even though her doctor was like, I need this, I need this, I need this. It took months for her to get an MRI. They tried to make her go to physical therapy first, and the therapists were like, this is a horrible idea. You're going to mess your knee up more by the time we get your MRI. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I think she ended up having to go to the emergency room or something for them to okay it.
Take it seriously?
Yeah, to take it serious. So, she finally gets her MRI. Yep, tore her meniscus on both sides. Her knee, mind you, has been like this big for months. Barely walk on it, still trying to come to work. Get her referred out to a surgeon, because that's how bad it is. And he's like, oh yeah, you need a total knee replacement, basically. Get the whole thing set up for surgery. The day before her surgery, they call and say that her insurance denied the whole thing.
Oh my gosh.
The day before she was supposed to go in for surgery. She was waiting for their call to tell her what time to come in for surgery, but instead they told her she couldn't. So then she had to go through this whole thing again, where according to the x-ray, they didn't want to approve her for the whole surgery. But they're going off the x-ray and not the MRI, which is what they insisted that she needed in the first place to even get into a surgeon at all.
Oh my gosh.
But they're not going by the results of the MRI. Instead of giving her a complete knee replacement, they're just going to fix the meniscus and do what they can.
Like put a Band-Aid on it?
Basically.
Oh my gosh.
And like, from what the surgeon had told her, that it's supposed to be like a temporary, like 2-ish year fix.
So to go back and have to deal with it again in 2
a couple
years?
years.
No way.
Yeah. And it's just like constantly, she's so fed up, she's so tired, she's in so much pain. I don't blame her. Like, she just wants to be done with it, you know what I mean? But I go through it constantly with my grandmother with the pills that she has to be on, and the doctor finally gets her on a regimen that works the best for her, and then all of a sudden her insurance company is like, we don't want to fill it for that anymore, so she has to take it this many times a day instead.
Yeah.
When that doesn't work with the combination of what all the other meds that she's on, it's just a whole thing. Like,
yeah, it's deceptive.
It's
the whole
deceptive.
thing.
It makes me feel sick, and then you got people out there who they get into those like donut holes. That's what they call them, where basically like you're not covered for anything, like any of your meds, and so like a couple times when you're getting your meds, they're full price. So like one person can get into that and might be bankrupted by the medication that they need. Like
Sam, just take me out.
People who are on who have had transplants and have to be on those transplant meds for the rest of their lives, like they have to be on them.
Right.
And they're crazy expensive, like insane. I have to deal with it every day, talking to insurance companies, and they talk around you. They don't want to tell you how they need to be billed so that you can get reimbursed, and it's just a whole thing. I know this is a really boring line, but I deal with it every day, and I'm so annoyed about it. Like, constantly. And there's nothing you can do about it unless you're like, fine, I'll pay out of pocket. You know what I mean?
Is that what they ultimately want you to do, or what? They want you to go through insurance.
They don't want to pay out. So, sure, if you want to pay your insurance premiums and then not use it.
Ugh, and then they don't
sure.
give you what you promised.
Right, then they don't have to pay out anything. It's just really infuriating. Anyway.
Whining and dining.
I'm going more whining. I've ate one bite of this because
That's
I'm
fine.
too busy whining.
I'm on dining for us. I didn't even brush my hair. I showered and then let it dry. I'm not mad about it. I'm mad that I can't post videos that I took of the bands that I like. Because it's still copyright. And I'm gonna sneak one in. just do it anyway. Because there's some people who are like,
filming the whole concert or something.
yeah, and they'll put it up or whatever. I don't have to do the whole thing. I want to just do it right now. Our glasses look cute, by the way.
Good job. These salt and vinegar chips are vinegar.
Whine about it.
Oh.
No more vinegar than salt.
My mouth kind of hurts.
Oh, really? Is that your second chip? I got a bigger wine, and you're going to be really upset with me because we already have it. My big wine is we traveled thousands of miles to go see 2 plays in London, England. Okay? Side wine. I can't get that video footage to load on this YouTube channel.
Everything from Scotland loaded, but they're like, no, you weren't in London.
You weren't in London.
You're not telling anyone about it.
When we went to those plays, the people that we went to see come up all the time and shake hands with the fans and say hello and like do all this stuff. Neither of them. We went to 2 plays and neither of those guys came up. And we traveled. We're like, oh my gosh, it'll be so fun to see and shake his hand and say, great, it's awesome. No. Your face is red. How did it get so red? It makes me feel stupid.
Oh man, it was kind of a bummer though, because we were, the first play that we went to was at night. Like it didn't start until like 7 p.m. and it was like a 4-hour play, so we were there forever. Worth it though. It was great. It was a great show.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like I was sitting there for 4 hours, which was nice because
My body felt it.
Yeah, because we're 30.
Stop. Go on.
Afterwards, we waited out because they will, the cast will come out, and it just happened to be the one night that they had like publicity obligations, so they didn't come out, but we didn't know that. So we're standing out on the streets of London till like
for an hour,
midnight, maybe later than that, and it was weirdly cold. I like that. I like the temperature that it was there, but
yeah, I'm trying to move over there.
But being nighttime though, we weren't exactly dressed for cold.
I was in a dress.
Yeah. Anyway, but it just kind of was interesting because I used to go to cons all the time, and we're waiting in line for hours to meet people, and it was just funny because that hour mark hit, and we're like,
we're not 20
we're
anymore.
Not these people. As much as I would love to meet these guys and tell them how great they did and ask them questions about other things, of other projects that they had, I just I like you, but I like me more, and I'm tired and cold, so I'm going home.
Yeah.
And then the next day, the play that we went to was a matinee. It was in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
So cute. It was adorable. It was actually based off a movie from the 90s that Paul Rudd was in. And thoroughly enjoyed that. Much shorter, though. And then they had like a really cute like bar cafe in the front of the playhouse. And we waited there. She said, I gave you an hour, so we're going to give me an hour. And we waited, and
he never
came out. And we got to meet a couple of some of the actresses. That
there were 4 people total in this play. We saw literally all 3 of them. We hung out with the 2 girls for a second. The guy that we went to the play to see is a little bit more popular, so he's probably just hiding out, which is fine.
But it wouldn't have been that bad if we didn't hear and see pictures from the late show that night where he did come out and meet everybody.
And every other show before and after that.
We just missed them all. We're like, okay.
The people that we know through social media that promote him or they all went to the plays and took pictures with him, and I was just a little upset about it. I had a song prepared from something he was in before. I was ready.
If you actually would have done that song, I would have hid somewhere immediately.
Didn't I give you the phone to like film it?
I would have had to like prop it up.
Because you would have left?
I couldn't have done it. If you would have started singing, Sam.
Really?
You think I'm red now? I would have lost my mind. I would have known what to do. You know, I don't like
Do
people
you think
looking.
I would have regretted doing that?
It depends on what his reaction was. If he started singing along because he thought it was funny, it would have been awesome. But if he was
Or
like,
just laughing.
security.
I just really wanted to make him laugh. The best things about him are when he laughs.
But the thought was, we flew thousands of miles and didn't get to meet anybody that we wanted to meet. Now, granted, it was sort of like it all felt very kismet. We were not planning to be in London at all. We had a whole Scotland excursion planned, which we did, but it was too happenstance that two people that we enjoy watching were going to be in plays at the exact same time that we were going to be in the UK. That we that would never happen again.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was great. It was a really good experience. Everything about that trip. And so my ultimate wine is living in this country now because I would like to be living in
It trumps
Scotland.
all other wines.
Oh, it was so great there. The biggest thing, this is appropriate because we're sitting here eating, is the food. Like, being able to eat things that are real food and going about your day without, like, having any tummy pain or anything like that. Like, I don't know about you, but I actually lost weight while I was there. And we ate our way through the country.
I didn't like weigh myself before or after, but I know I felt better.
Yeah, like,
Because when I got home,
within 2 weeks, I was like, I feel disgusting again.
well, yeah, I got sick.
Yeah.
Like a major sickness. I'm not talking about.
That's a huge wine that I have. The quality of food, things that are going into our food, and we have absolutely no control over it. And then we think that we're doing better, you know, and trying to eat organic and whatever, and they're just slapping labels on stuff telling us it's organic. If a farmer has completely organic crops and a farmer moves in next door to him and they grow GMO crops, all it takes is the wind to blow and seeds from that crop going into that crop, and now it's tainted. And stuff's
Ew.
cross-pollinating, and it's a whole thing.
Is it okay to, like, let's say my parents have a garden, your mom has a garden. We just eat the things that come out of that. Would it be safer?
It's safer, but then the soil that we're growing it in
It
is
just doesn't matter.
polluted as crap.
But it is the
Especially
lesser
here.
of two evils.
Yeah. Because people think pesticides are bad, which they are, but it's really the herbicides that they're spraying on things. Not to mention everything's processed. And I think it's crazy that the same exact food here would have 15 ingredients on the label, and you go to the UK and there's four things, and they're all things that you recognize immediately when you read the label. So it's just kind of frustrating. I don't think, like, I had an idea about it before we went, you know, because we've seen the documentaries, and, you know,
Yeah.
our friend Tracy has been really into that stuff for a really long time, and she informed us of a lot of that stuff. But then you go over there and you're tasting the fruit, and you're like, this
It's
is a
so
strawberry?
good, I
Like,
know.
oh my gosh, it's red all the way through. I didn't know they grew like this, you know? Like, beef and stuff that we've had there, like, it was just, I don't know. It's kind of disheartening to think about, you know, and it all leads back into one with what I was talking about with the medical stuff. You know, it's all looped and tied in, really frustrating. And as someone who has yo-yoed and struggled with my weight my entire life, and, you know, it not always being because I'm lazy or overeating, but because my hormones are crazy. You know what I mean? Like, it's really disheartening when you think you're doing what you've been told. This is the way to do it. This is the healthy way to do it. But, you know, if there's weird chemicals and hormones in your food and you're eating that, it's throwing you off, and you're just up the creek, you know?
Yeah.
Not to push off any responsibility for it, but it's just really, it kind of puts you in a spot of it's stacked so hard against you, why bother?
It feels like you're not supported.
Yeah.
Like your country doesn't support you, or I mean, it feels like they want to poison us.
They want you sick
to keep everybody.
because they want your money.
Is this is the ultimate wine, and this is our first wine. We can't top this later. Like, well, what else can
Oh,
compare?
it's really frustrating. Well, let's talk about what else compares. Freaking Heathrow Airport.
Compares?
Compares as a wine, as how annoying that is. Circle. So, I have never been in an airport this disorganized. Like, it was like, I know it's an international airport, but so is the one in Columbus. That, you know what I mean? And like, Columbus is always clean and like tidy, and you go to this gate at this time. And you can go and find your gate and sit for 2 hours and be like, okay, I'm ready, and just wait to get on the plane. Heathrow, you get off the plane in Heathrow, they didn't have anything assigned until 10 minutes before we started boarding. And this airport is humongous. And anytime we would check, they would basically just say, yeah, check a half hour before. A half hour was not correct, but even if that's the case, like, this airport, I'm saying you would have to get on a train to get from one end of the airport to the other if it was at a different terminal.
They're setting
or
up
a
for
different
failure
gate.
also.
Basically a giant mall. There's like, I don't need this Estee Lauder, I need a seat. I want to sit down somewhere next to this Starbucks. The Starbucks was like our saving grace, like our hub. We're like, there it is. We know how to get everywhere in this airport from this Starbucks. If we didn't have that Starbucks, and we were tired, it was an overnight flight, I literally fell asleep sitting up, and she thought it was hilarious.
I was dying. I wish I filmed it.
I don't want to miss our flight. What if I'm not paying attention and they load stuff up and then we gotta go to an airport 2 cities over or something? That's how crazy our flight was. I don't know. But never have I been to an airport. And then she's like Googling, why is this airport so bad?
It's like number one
worst international air, like in the world,
Are we
right?
allowed to talk about this without being on a no flight?
I don't know.
What are we gonna do?
If everybody on TikTok can talk about their experiences. And then on the way home, I have never, apparently I've been lucky. I fly all the time. I travel a lot. Only one time have I had an experience where they could not get me on a flight and then they put me on standby, and it was like a whole day ordeal. I was supposed to get somewhere at like 2 p.m. and I got there at 11 p.m. It was crazy. Only one time has that happened. This one rarely flies, gets stranded in an airport in Dallas for like 3 days, right? And I'm thinking, okay, that really sucks, but it'll be fine. That never happens, you know. It's only every once in a while.
I can't relive this again.
On our way home from Heathrow, so we're already in this freaking hellscape of Heathrow, fly back into JFK or LaGuardia.
LaGuardia?
I think it was JFK.
It's JFK.
It was somewhere. So we were in JFK. We already were anticipating, okay, we had a 4-hour layover. We already knew that was going to happen. Gates keep flip-flopping around, but it's only like within, you know, like 3 or 4 gates of each other, so we just keep moving. We have this like group of people that we have been on planes with since the beginning of our trip, essentially, like at Heathrow. So we're all just following each other around like, oh, I know that guy, let's follow him. We sit there and we start noticing, all right, our boarding time is coming up. You know, where's the plane? Like, they haven't said anything. The flight that was leaving before us started boarding when we were supposed to be boarding, but it wasn't our flight. Apparently, there was some sort of, like, lightning storm that's what they were saying. So they kept pushing it back and pushing it back. Meanwhile, her mom is driving 2 hours from where we live to the airport we're going to be landing in to pick us up. We were supposed to get in at 10 p.m., right?
Yeah.
So she had left to be there to pick us up. Delayed. Her mom's still on board. Don't worry about it. I'll go to a movie in town while you guys, whatever. They finally get a plane out of Raleigh to come up and get us. They load us in. There's maybe 50 people on this flight.
Maybe.
Like there wasn't very many people.
No.
Get us on the plane. Everybody's like, oh, thank God, because at this point they were anticipating us getting home around like 1:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, great, whatever, we'll be home. I don't know why we ever assumed hope. Because that is not what happened.
Assumed hope.
we get on the plane. Everybody's checked all their bags. We're sitting on the tarmac. They actually leave the gate. The plane leaves the gate, rolls us out. We're sitting there, and I had put an audiobook on, and I thought, okay, this will be fine. And then I realized I'm 6 chapters in, and we're still not in the air.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I'm like, captain comes on, the pilot, basically is like apologizing to us that they now have to take us back to the gate because he tried to tell them that he had already capped out on his hours and
was
he
like
couldn't
putting
fly. He's
the
like,
people on blast.
they didn't believe me. I tried to tell them, you guys. Like, that's going to make it better for us than everybody. Basically, there were even people on the plane that were like, we don't care. Like, we just want to go home. Like, it was...
Stop telling us your backstory. We don't care.
like, it was ridiculous. So, I'd say we probably were taxied like that for almost 2 hours.
Well, the whole point was because of the storm, everyone was now trying to leave at the same time.
Yeah.
So we're all waiting to take turns. The planes were waiting to take turns going off. So we were on the tarmac in line. So they hit their point where they're like, we have been working for 15 hours.
Yeah.
Legally, we cannot do this anymore. And we try to tell them that. And now we have to clock out. And I'm like, well, we gotta go back.
Right. But the crazy thing is that the flight time, if we would have got into the air when we were supposed to, they would have capped out mid-flight.
Right.
So we would have been flying with a pilot who was technically, illegally...
I'm like, is he clock out? And then he's like, sorry guys, I gotta sleep.
I gotta go nap now. Good thing these things fly themselves. Like, it was ridiculous. So, and they get us back, unload everyone. Everyone is very unhappy about
You know what
this.
we did though? This whole trip, we did not check bags.
We didn't.
We had a
Carry-on
carry-on and a
bag.
backpack a piece.
2 weeks in Scotland. And
we did good. So I'm saying,
Yes.
we didn't check them so we didn't have to worry about our bags getting somewhere. Because
Which
when I
was
did that in
great.
Dallas, my bags made it to Pittsburgh 2 days before I did. And I'm like, why wasn't I on that plane? Anyway, I digress.
We get off the plane. Everyone's rolling up the ramp. They inform us if we want our bags back, if you did check your bag, then you would have had to go get them and go back, clear back through security. But we didn't have to worry about that because we didn't check our bags.
Thank God I didn't have to think about that.
But we're sitting there and they're like, well, we're trying to find you another flight staff, essentially. We're going to try to find another pilot, whatever, to come in. And they're trying to maintain hope. They could not have cared less about any of our circumstances. They didn't
And
care.
some of those guys that were with us were having none of that.
Oh,
They're
they
like,
were so
you don't
mad.
act like you care. Like they were loud voices that
Yeah.
we needed because we're like, I'm not
We
doing
did.
this.
It was very nice that we had a couple of guys like that in our group that were advocating because they kept telling us too. They're like, oh no, we'll stay on them because they will forget you if you let them. So they just kept telling us, like, pushing it back. We might have to like straight up cancel your whole flight. And we're like, well, I really hope they don't do that because then they'll put everybody on standby because then you're just running around trying to get on a flight anywhere.
Looking for your name. It's
Oh
horrible.
my gosh. And mind you, this is the end of our trip. We're out of money and we're tired. I'm like,
We're
I
out of
cannot
money.
afford this $20 turkey sandwich at the airport right now. They eventually tell us, we're not going to cancel it. It's like an extended delay. And we're hoping we can fly you out by 11 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Not like 7 or 6.
Right, not the first flight of the day, 11 a.m. We have been in this airport since 1 p.m. the day prior. Like,
So we'll
that's
have
when
been
we
almost
flew in.
24 hours, which,
Yeah.
I mean,
Right, in this airport. Then they proceed to tell us, oh, and we're not giving anyone vouchers for anything. The airport was freezing in the middle of the night.
I woke up one time, and Brooke has her luggage open, her bag open, and unfolds like this, and her head looks like it's going to be folded into a sandwich, and I had to laugh and then cry and go back to sleep.
Because I was taking clothes out to cover myself up with because it was so cold in there.
It was cold.
And luckily,
Just picture That's so funny.
But we made a lot of really nice friends. There was this elderly couple who was traveling with us who was from Columbus. So, you know, just a couple hours away from us. And it was like traveling with our grandparents. They checked in on us. They made sure we were okay. They watched our bags whenever we needed, you know. It was really nice to have them around.
Backup.
And, yeah. And for some reason, my phone was the only one that was getting sent the alerts when they were moving our gates all around. So everybody would follow me.
You're like, guys, we have to go to
Add
gate.
an alert. We have to move gates. And then there was another guy in our group who was the one who was like, I'm gonna go yell at these people. Don't worry, guys.
It was a team effort. It was so nice.
So that was nice. You know, we got to meet a lot of people, and we'll never forget it. We've got stories for the rest of our life. But
the biggest one.
Oh my gosh! And the cleaning crew don't care.
Oh yeah.
There was
the vending was nowhere
there
to
was
be.
no
Yeah.
vending machines. You couldn't get coffee. I think the first thing opened at like 6 or maybe 7. It might have been 7. I tried to find a Dunkin' Donuts to go get coffee from.
There was drama there too, where people were like, "We're not doing cold stuff. We're not doing hot stuff." I'm like, "What are you doing? Who is taking care of us?" No one.
No one. But I was like, whatever. I've made this drive a million times. Let's just rent a car and go home.
They were talking about how people have done that, where they rent like 18 passenger vans, and then the people with the group that we were with, just to be like, all right, let's go from our 8-hour drive from New York to Columbus. Let's go.
We all needed to get to Columbus.
Right.
We tried.
And just split the cost of the van.
Yeah. But I legitimately tried to look it up through Hertz and through.
They were out.
They had no vehicles. I'm like, we're stuck at this airport. It's like the Langoliers. I'm like, yesterday's gonna come and eat us. I don't know if you've seen that Stephen King movie, but anyway, I was freaking out about it. Oh, I have never been so tired than when I got home. Like, I'm really, because I should have known. I had it all planned out. We would get back with so many days to beat the jet lag before I had to go back to work. Well, that didn't happen, because we came home and immediately basically had to sleep and be ready for the week. Like I'm
trying to remember.
The very next day was at Asher's birthday party.
Oh, that's right.
So I had to get up and go to my nephew, which I didn't want to miss, but I was supposed to have had that whole previous day
to regroup so you could be a pleasant person at Asher's birthday party.
Be alive at this birthday party. Oh my gosh. Apparently this is becoming more and more prevalent, where they're just canceling flights and then people are stuck in the airports for days. They're not helping them, giving them hotel vouchers. They're not nothing.
I was watching Brett Cooper from the Daily Wire, and she was talking about how the last few flights that she's taken, it's been like this, being stuck somewhere, being delayed. There is a crisis happening at the airports with the airlines and stuff. So they're just not taking care of their people. And
find somewhere you want to live with people that you like, fly there, and stay there.
Stay there. We'll take you with us. When I eat a bunch, like too much, I know it, because then I'm like. Also, this stool is hurting my bum. Babinski.
Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this wine and dine. This is something I think we're planning on making a regular series, because there's always stuff to complain about, and you gotta eat. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
If you guys have any topics that you think would be interesting to hear if we find annoying, just drop them in the comments and let us know. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow along if you want to be alerted. Hit the bell.
And make sure you hit all of it, because sometimes you get some notifications if you hit like the bare minimum bell. I don't know what that is.
I don't know.
All.
You want to hear about everything we're doing, don't you? Yeah. We're doing a lot. Just stay tuned, okay? We're not going to be boring forever.
Forever? We're never boring! Thanks.
So what could you tell?